The man woke up. He was shocked to find a big lump on his forehead. Just a light touch made him grimace in pain. He quickly opened the medicine box, but after searching for a long time, he only found a pair of tweezers for plucking eyebrows. But instead of putting the tweezers down, he lifted his hair and pressed the sharp end against his forehead, feeling around to find the right spot. Then he stabbed it in without hesitation. His whole body trembled from the pain, but he forced himself to endure it. He kept jabbing at his forehead with the tweezers. After a while, he cut open a deep wound that exposed the bone. The sharp pain shot straight to his skull, making him curl up on the ground, but he still didn't give up. Instead, he threw away the tweezers and pushed his finger into the wound to feel around. Very quickly he felt something, but when he pulled it out and looked, he was almost scared to death on the spot. Inside the lump on his forehead, there was a wriggling worm. He quickly threw the worm aside and turned his head to vomit, but his stomach was already empty. But it wasn't over yet. He had to quickly squeeze out the pus and blood and clean the wound. Otherwise, in the hot and humid jungle, even the slightest mistake, an infection could kill him any time. After treating the wound, he didn't dare to stay any longer, so he quickly set out, trying to leave the forest. But soon he discovered the tree trunks ahead had cut marks. He got excited right away. He figured someone must have passed by here. Maybe they hadn't gone far, so he shouted while walking faster, looking for traces of others. But after searching for a long time, he didn't see a single person. Instead, he found 2 blue eggs on the ground. They looked very strange. He was already starving, so he stopped looking for people and hurried forward, picked up the eggs in his hands, wanting to figure out what animal was inside. But he had lived in the city all his life. He had never seen anything like this, yet he was too hungry, so he smashed the eggshell without hesitation. But when he opened it, he was stunned. Inside was a bird about to hatch, and its appearance was horrifying. He felt nauseous, but his will to survive forced him to gather courage. He poured everything inside the shell, right into his mouth. He shut his eyes tightly, fighting the urge to vomit, chewing hard with his teeth, then tilted his head back with difficulty, and finally swallowed it. Right after that, he used the same method, and ate the other egg. Then he continued forward, no idea how long he had walked, when he suddenly saw a footprint on the ground. He quickly crouched down to check, and found the footprint was still fresh. His eyes widened with excitement. He started shouting for help all around. But strangely, no matter how long he shouted, everything around was silent, not a single sound. Then suddenly, he noticed on the ground not far away, there were 2 broken eggshells, and they looked very familiar. He froze in disbelief. He slowly stretched out his left foot, and found it matched the footprint exactly. Only then did he realize he had been going in circles. He was furious, feeling like fate was messing with him. He grabbed his head and screamed in agony. Then he took off his backpack and smashed the footprint to pieces, trying to vent his anger. But anger was useless. He had to find a way out, or he would die here sooner or later. As night fell, he calmed himself down and checked his map under the moonlight. But the more he looked, the more hopeless he felt. He frowned in despair. The cheap map he bought only had a few lonely marks, no warnings of danger, and no path out of the forest. He was helpless, so he put the map away, sat down to rest, planning to recover his strength before deciding what to do. The next morning, he set out again, but danger soon returned. He hadn't walked far when thunder rolled in the sky. A storm was coming. He hurried his pace, trying to find shelter from the rain. But before he could find a safe spot, dark clouds covered the sky. Huge raindrops poured down, pounding his exhausted and helpless body. He quickly put on a raincoat and walked forward with difficulty through the downpour, hoping to find shelter. After walking who knows how long, he finally found a spot shielded from the wind, so he quickly broke off branches nearby, stacked them together, and lay down on them, trying to keep himself as dry as possible. At that moment, he felt powerless. He hoped when he woke up, the rain would stop and the sky would clear, and he could find his way out. But reality was cruel, and struck him again. Not long after he lay down, he found rainwater flowing from the cliff above his head, and the river nearby was rising fast. Soon the water started to flood toward him. He had no choice but to get up quickly, grab his backpack and leave. He waded through waist-deep water, struggling toward higher ground, hoping to outlast the storm. After a night, the rain finally stopped. He drank water dripping from the rock wall to fill his stomach, not knowing how much longer this life would last. Just then he noticed a helicopter flying overhead, so he quickly pulled out a bright red tablecloth and shouted loudly, hoping to get the pilot's attention. But no matter how hard he tried, the helicopter didn't stop. It just flew straight ahead. Fate played a cruel joke on him. He couldn't accept it. He collapsed on the ground and slammed his fist against the rocks, using pain to cover up his grief and frustration. After venting, he felt drained and leaned on a stick with no strength left. But the next second, he accidentally stepped into a swamp. He panicked, struggling and shaking side to side, but the more he struggled, the faster he sank. Before long, his whole body was trapped in the swamp, unable to move. The situation was critical. He He forced his mind to think fast, trying to find a way out. Looking around, he finally saw a branch ahead, so he used all his strength, and slowly lifted his left hand, reaching for the leaves in front of him. He wrapped the leaves around twice, and gripped the branch tightly in his hand. Then with the last of his strength, he pulled himself forward. Luckily in the end he dragged himself back to the ground, but escaping the swamp drained every ounce of his energy. Extreme exhaustion made him collapse on the ground. His mind started to blur, but he didn't dare close his eyes, because if he didn't clean off the mud on his body, the parasites inside could infect him with diseases, bringing unimaginable consequences. But he had no idea how far the river was. He couldn't find clean water anywhere. Bathing was impossible. Thinking of this, he looked at a dead tree nearby, and made a bold decision. He forced himself to stay awake, dragging his weak body, and crawled to the tree. Then he stripped off all his clothes, and grabbed the trunk with both hands, shaking it hard, letting the venomous red fire ants fall all over his body, letting them chew on his flesh, and eat away the parasites. As the ants bit him savagely, he felt unbearable pain, but the pain also kept him conscious. He staggered to the riverbank, barely escaping death. After rinsing his body, night slowly fell, but he didn't stop to rest. Instead he used what little strength he regained, to drag back some logs, planning to build a raft, and float down the river to a nearby village. But just after he carried the logs, he was completely exhausted, collapsing to the ground. When he wanted to rest a little longer, he suddenly saw a turtle in front of him, slowly crawling. He picked up a stone, wanting to kill the turtle, and cook it for dinner, but staring at this living creature, he hesitated. After being trapped so long in the forest, this was the first living being he had seen. After struggling inside, he decided not to kill it. He lay down in front of the turtle, and reached out his finger, wanting to be close to it a little longer. But the turtle didn't care. It turned its head, and crawled the other way. He didn't stop it. Instead he sat up, and looked at the stars. He suddenly noticed countless stars forming a galaxy, glittering brightly in the night sky, magnificent beyond words. In front of nature, life was so small and fragile. He smiled happily. As a rich kid, he had never felt so content. In a daze, he seemed to see a butterfly, landing on his hand, then flying away again. At that moment, he finally understood. Maybe life was fragile and fleeting, and could slip away quietly at any time. The fragility of human life was no different than a butterfly. Only by accepting all the experiences of life, and cherishing every moment, could one say they truly lived. But not long after, he fainted. The next morning, a small boat came along the river. Two men rowed to the shore, looking around, but after searching for a long time, they didn't see any signs of life, so they shook their heads in disappointment, and got ready to leave. At that moment he slowly woke up, half opening his eyes to the riverbank, thinking he was dreaming. As the boat drifted farther away, he finally realized rescue was right in front of him, and about to slip away. He crawled toward the riverbank with difficulty, wanting to tell his friends he was here, but just standing up drained all his strength. He couldn't even open his mouth to call their names, so he could only watch helplessly as the boat drifted away, and was about to disappear around the bend. But to his surprise, his friends seemed to sense him. One of them turned his head toward him, and stared with wide eyes.